Hey guys, welcome back to the Mind of Brandon, and welcome back to another Thursday Theory. As indicated by the title of this video, I'm going to be talking about what was before the Big Bang. Now, if you've been subscribed to me for a while and you've been, watching my science videos, then we're not going to be talking about anything in today's video that you haven't already heard. But it's necessary for me to keep repackaging this material for new audiences, because there's still a lot of people that haven't been, updated to all this stuff. They don't already know this stuff that we're going to be talking about. A concept I still come across a lot when I watch like other people's videos, we watch like new videos coming out. I still see people making the same mistakes on this subject. Right? There's still all sorts of people who think that prior to the Big Bang, the idea is that there's nothing. There's nothing prior to the Big Bang. Wait. So that means that nothing somehow exploded into this universe? Okay, now, y'all are in serious need of some more up-to-date research on the subject, okay? Like, watch some Neil deGrasse Tyson or Sean Carroll or something like that, okay? So, the Big Bang Theory, before it was called that, it was called, the guy who came up with it, he called it his hypothesis of the primeval atom, okay? The idea is there's some hypothetical atom or particle, something like that, that for whatever reason became very hot and exploded. And that's what set in motion the formation of the universe. So right there, you've got some stuff that existed prior to the Big Bang, okay? It was some sort of primeval atom or a particle. So far as we can tell, that's probably what it was. Some kind of particle or something that explodes. Okay? Now, if it's legitimately an atom, okay, well, we know, like, what atoms are made of. We know their ingredients. Okay? They're made out of these subatomic particles that we call protons and neutrons. Lesser known fact, there's actually also pions in there. But these, these subatomic particles, they're composed of elementary particles that we call quarks, which are held together by these energy fields that we call gluons, which are actually also classified as elementary particles. But that's more specifically what the elementary particles are. They're energy fields, little ripples or waves of energy, little energy vibrations, stuff like that. Okay, there's different kinds. So fundamentally, all that is considered matter is really made of energy. Okay, it's the most fundamental ingredient. And as far as we can tell, based on what evidence is available to us, energy cannot be created, nor can it be destroyed, just changed. Right? It's the most fundamental stuff that we're aware of. We can't think of anything else to make energy out of. Okay? It's the most fundamental stuff that we know of. So, if that's true, that it cannot be created, yet it exists, that means it's always existed. Okay? So, prior to the existence of our universe, prior to the Big Bang, prior to the hypothetical primeval atom and its subatomic particles that make it up, and the elementary particles, prior to that, there's already energy that has just always existed. That's not nothing. Don't call it that. Okay? I get, some people when they say, oh yeah, it came from nothing, right? What they really mean is that there wasn't matter that existed. Okay? But this is kind of deceiving if you refer to it that way. If you say that the Big Bang came from nothing, that's just a deceptive way of putting it, because it conjures up images of or a thought process of there being literally a complete absence of anything or any kind of stuff whatsoever, and that's just wrong. Energy, so far as we can tell, has just always been there. There has always been energy. So if you hear a physicist talking about how, we've done these experiments that demonstrate something really can come from nothing, right? Don't take them literally, all right? When they say nothing, what they're talking about is the concept of empty space. They're talking about, there's an absence of matter. okay? There's an absence of matter that is producing what we consider to be the matter particle, little elementary particles of matter, okay? Um, and so that's why they're calling it nothing. But it's not literally a complete absence of anything. It's energy, okay? What they're calling nothing, they should actually be calling energy. So they shouldn't be saying that. They shouldn't be saying, oh, we're getting, you know, elementary particles from nothing. No, you're getting it from energy. This is something Neil deGrasse Tyson calls out Lawrence Krauss on in a debate you can find here on YouTube, or a panel discussion. If you look up Neil deGrasse Tyson and Lawrence Krauss debate nothing, okay, yeah, there's this entire like panel discussion on the subject of nothing. They established pretty early on that nothing is a word that's subject to interpretation, okay? As that's important to keep in mind here. But yeah, there's this part in the discussion where Lawrence Krauss is talking about photons popping into existence out of nothing. And, you know, Neil deGrasse Tyson's just like, Lawrence, that's not nothing. That's energy. Okay, I don't accept your nothing. So you can have perfectly reasonable, intelligent, educated, you know, sciencey, physicist type people who are just bad communicators. They don't pick the right words when they're explaining this stuff. And it's important that they pick the right words. Otherwise, people are going to be poorly educated on the subject. Now, with all of that being established, I want to make sure that you guys understand that the primeval atom or particle, whatever it was that, you know, banged and, you know, set in motion the formation of the universe, we shouldn't assume that that was necessarily the only particle in existence. We shouldn't assume that our universe is the first universe. We shouldn't assume it's the only universe. In all probability, based on what evidence is actually available to us, in all probability, there are currently other universes beyond our universe. There are other universes that predate our universe. Now, a lot of people have been confused by the concept of multiple universes. I know that it boggled my mind when I first heard about it when I was a kid, because I was used to this idea that the universe represents the totality of all that exists, right? But then I came across the concept of God, right? And, you know, the idea with God is that he predates and transcends the universe. Well, if there's something that predates and transcends the universe, then that means the universe does not represent the totality of all that exists. This is, again, a situation we come up against if we talk about multiple universes. If there are other universes, then that means that a universe does not represent the totality of all that exists. Okay, now, that being said, since our universe is understood to be expanding, the fact that it is expanding demonstrates that it exists within a larger environment beyond what we consider to be our universe. So basically, seeing the word universe as a way of referring to the totality of all that exists is kind of an outdated way of looking at it. Kind of like how once upon a time people understood the universe in a more narrow sense as heaven and earth. That's a relatively flat and disc-shaped earth circumimposed by the dome of heaven, both of which are just kind of floating in a sea of primordial waters. Okay, that's a very ancient conception of the universe. You look at like ancient flat earth maps, it doesn't even include the entirety of the earth. It's like a chunk of like the Middle East or something like that. Okay, the disk of the earth was a piece of the Middle East. It's got like, you know, water all around it. And of course we discovered that Earth is not the only world. Some of those lights up there that we thought of as like oddly behaved stars, some of them are worlds, you know, kind of like Earth that, you know, have their own moons and go around the sun, that sort of thing. And we have to keep in mind that once upon a time we thought of our galaxy as the universe, representing the totality of all that exists, but then we discovered other galaxies. Now, I'm not going to tell you that we can prove there are other universes. It's not like we have direct evidence of observable universes, right? But the pattern of evidence that's available to us in this universe does seem to suggest that other universes probably exist, okay? Other expanding bubbles of space-time that are mass-producing galaxies and black holes. That's what I mean when I say other universes. So I'm not necessarily talking about like alternate realities or anything like that. I have a more mundane understanding of what a universe is. So what are the indicators that our universe exists in some kind of multiverse, a realm of some kind of space that produces other universes? Well, as I've mentioned, the fact that it's expanding, the fact that we have an expanding universe, demonstrates it exists within a larger environment. This is something Tyson talks about in his lectures. If our universe is totality, if it represents all that exists, it shouldn't be doing anything. It shouldn't be expanding. That makes no sense. Also, there's all sorts of large naturally occurring phenomena in this universe that's made up of smaller naturally occurring phenomena, made up of smaller naturally occurring phenomena, right? And all of that naturally occurring phenomena is produced in multiples, right? There's multiple elementary particles, subatomic particles, atoms, molecules, the various compounds of matter, stars, planets, asteroids, comets, moons, galaxies, black holes. It's all produced in multiples. None of it's really unique. So, it makes sense based on the pattern of evidence we're observing in this universe. That pattern probably continues beyond the confines of our expanding universe. Also, Tyson has pointed out that there's certain phenomena sometimes witnessed in the cosmos that may be an indication of other universes sort of bumping into our own, brushing up against or colliding with it, whatever. So our universe can be understood to exist in a multiverse, and there might be multiple multiverses. We have no way of knowing. But the new way of referring to the totality of all that exists is the omniverse. Okay? So if you want to kind of update your approach to all this stuff, you don't really refer to the totality of all that exists as the universe. You refer to it as the omniverse. And you perceive a universe as something which there is probably more than one of. There's probably a bunch of them. So there's probably all sorts of stuff that existed prior to the Big Bang that set in motion the formation of our universe. Other stuff apart from atoms and particles and just energy, probably, other universes, other, worlds, other stars and planets and moons and, comets, etc., right? So that stuff was probably going on for a long time before our universe began. But I want to make sure you guys are properly understanding all this. So let's review, okay? When scientists talk about, how something can come from nothing, that comes from the fact that they're observing the formation of elementary particles in the vacuum of space. So that they're in this thought process of that's empty space giving rise to elementary particles. It's something from nothing, right? Well, technically, the space isn't empty, though. It's filled with energy. There's energy at every single little point in space. And it is that energy that produces those particles. So if you say those particles came from nothing, you're basically calling energy nothing. Don't do that. The Big Bang, so far as we can tell, was probably an exploding atom or particle, which consists of energy, which, as far as we can tell, has always existed. So as far as we can tell, energy existed long before our universe did. It existed long before the Big Bang that brought about the formation of our universe. Prior to the Big Bang that formed our universe, there were probably other Big Bangs that formed other universes. Our universe probably exists in a multiverse, and thus it does not represent the totality of all that exists. The new way of referring to the totality of all that exists is the omniverse. Even though we live in a finite universe with a beginning, the omniverse has probably just always existed in constant flux. So I don't want to hear any more of this crap about the universe popping into existence from nothing. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with other people. If you're interested in watching my future videos, please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And I will see you all in the next one. So have a good one, guys, and peace.